Well, hello, it's July the 8th, and this is our third summer sketch giveaway. So welcome to everybody that is there logging on. I appreciate everybody just joining me in the studio today. You know, what summer sketch giveaway is it's encouragement to you to help you learn how to use the tools, the different things that we have to work on our creative process. So I'm bringing these to help you become a better artist. And if you don't know who I am Linda Glover Gooch, and I'm an artist, an oil painter, and I'm also the creator of the online courses at masterfulpainting.com. What I'm going to do today is I am going to do a fairly quick demo. I hope to get through a successful quick demo. It's always remains to be seen. If you are a painter or a drawer, you know we're pretty much at the mercy of what is coming out of us. But so I'm going to get started here on this this drawing. But here's one thing. I'm going to move you up closer over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do this large formation of this cloud that was over the Grand Canyon. It's actually hovering over Grand Canyon Village. So it's not the view of the actual depth of the Grand Canyon, but all along here are little buildings. As you can see, I have done a little slight pencil sketch here, just for the sake of helping me get this done faster. One thing I'm going to confess is I am not a fast painter. I work more slow, intricate, and my thought process is just that. So I'm not, now when I'm out plein air and doing sketches, they're way different. I don't put near the detail in them and at that point. So Prismacolor markers, I love these things. They are the brush tip. You have to pay attention when you buy them because they'll come in different tips. The brush tip to me is the most fun. So this scene is predominantly, obviously, about the cloud. What am I going to do? I just want to give myself a little bit of a sense of what this scene feels like. So when I go to paint it, I've already kind of mapped out some compositional problems, some value problems, things that, you know, possibly would maybe hang me up along the way. Like I said, if Facebook knocks us off, just hang tight. I ought to come back on, but I'm just going to keep on rolling. I will not know if I get knocked off because I'm not looking at my phone. I'm just going to get rolling here. So a slight pencil sketch. I have proportioned this exactly to this. I used my proportional wheel, and I had measured what the proportions were in Photoshop on this, and then I took it to my proportional wheel, and it told me. Now, I know people say, how do you use that proportional wheel? When you sign up to enter the contest, that very video goes into explanation to you on how to use it. So I'm going to start with an 80% down here in the foreground. Now, the darkest area of this is actually the deep shadows that are down along these areas of those cliffs there over in coming in front of the village. All the villages all along here, El Tovar, Kolb Studio. I probably won't put any of those little buildings in this small of a sketch. This is a double end. It does have maybe a more fine tip. And then here is the brush tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm just going to start establishing the darks. I will always start with the darks in my paintings. It helps me just figure out where I am. And I'm going to just lay a broad stroke across here for the lay of this land. And for simplicity's sake of this scene, in my thought process, if I was painting this, which I very well might, I would not put all this light stuff over here because it's going to attract your eye down here to this far corner. So I'm telling myself, I already know that I do want to keep most of this area fairly dark down here. There is a little bit of a ledge that's going to catch some light, so I will maintain that. And there's going to be just some abstract shapes taking place here. So I've already given you all my disclaimers. And again, I'm not answering any kind of questions right now, but you guys feel free to shout out to each other. Give everybody a high five and and all, but I'm going to keep myself pretty focused so that I can stay hopefully within my 30-minute range. So as I'm coming through here, you can get lost at the Grand Canyon real easy with the shapes. And using the same 80% marker, I'm going to just go ahead and really keep this dark. Could be trees. Now in a painting, I would probably have a slight bit of detail there because it is up close, but I would keep it fairly dark. So in this area here, so then I'm just going to work my way over, just suggesting, may not get every single one of these cracks and crevices and ledges, which are absolutely beautiful. This view, I'll talk a little bit about this view as I'm just working here. Maybe it will settle me down. You know, this is nerve-wracking. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a nervous wreck here. It's true confession day. So yeah, that's what it is. This view is up from the trail view pullout. As you head up Hermit's Road, you can pull off in one of their turnouts, or if you're on the bus, you get off the bus, and they have this gorgeous view looking back this direction. Painted there, a lot of us have painted there in the celebration of art. I'm going to be fairly loose with this. Again, just trying to make some headway. Just a suggestion of some beautiful ledges, and how much detail you put into your work is a personal preference. And so, just getting that started. There are little ledges here. You could do a few if you want. I'm cutting down the space from here to here in this photo. I am just shortening that a touch. And then I'm gonna go ahead and jump up there. I'm gonna leave that for now. I'll probably get a little bit darker, maybe right down here in that very foreground, but I'm gonna leave it a little bit there. It's predominantly fairly dark. You may not be seeing this that dark, but if you took a value finder up there, this whole thing value-wise is way darker than what is up there. So then I'm going to jump here. I'm going to grab just a 40%. Now when I'm doing clouds in markers, I'm conservative as far as my darks. When I'm painting clouds in oils, if you've taken my course, you know I am less conservative and push to try to get the darks really dark, so I have somewhere to work, somewhere to go. For you painters, if you're painting your clouds, you have a tendency to stay in too much white. And I am on my students continually about back off away from the white. There's a beautiful rain squall, some rain coming through here. I may try to suggest it. I would definitely put it in a painting. They're a little bit harder to get them to read correctly with markers. Again, I'm using the 40% now. Just want to start creating. There is all this one shadow side, so I'm going to go ahead, keep a little bit of light there. I'm going to go ahead and just shadow here. A little bit of this shadow side. I don't worry about, you know, you can see my pen marks, whether they're horizontal or up and down. I don't worry about that too much because these are really just here. Now I have sold several of these and I will sell them, but predominantly they're for my thought process before I start a painting. I will do this. If I'm going to do a very big scene, I will do this, and then I will jump into a color study and then to the bigger piece. Now let me talk about this composition. I was working on this prior to thinking about this. I'm not exactly overexcited of this guy here. I'm thinking if I painted this even, I don't think I would be putting this guy in. So I've left him out on my drawing. I don't think he does anything. I think he has a tendency to pull you up and out. This is one thing with clouds. When you're doing cloud studies, you really need to just pay attention to the composition. And are there things taking you up off of a corner? It could be gorgeous. You might be emotionally attached to the scene, but if you paint it and compositionally wise, it's not holding up structure, then you kind of defeated your purpose of what your creating side should be in order to take a gorgeous photograph and make a better painting out of it. So I'm leaving this off. I don't think it does anything for the scene. So I'm gonna leave it out. Now, one thing with these markers, if I go back over this again with the 40%, I can get just a tad bit darker, because if I jump up here with a 60%, it might just be a little bit too dark on the cloud. And I'm always conservative here with the markers and the clouds. So that gives me kind of a little bit of a start with shadowing it there. And I'm gonna go ahead and just give myself a little bit of some interesting work within the cloud itself. The sky, another thing you do, or listen, hey, another thing I do, we as painters have a tendency to do is we do this blue way too light. I will push my dark sky colors and be a little bit more dramatic with it to pop my cloud. If I come in with a lighter blue, the whole scene is going to die. It's not going to pop. So now I'm going to grab the 60% and I'm just really working with the brush tip here. And I'm going to come here and go with a darker color. There's a little cloud right here off to the side. I'm going to leave it there. Now, these markers lighten up a little bit too. When they dry, they're not quite as dark. And you might be thinking, oh, that is really dark for the sky. And you know what? It is. Now, I have redesigned. I do like this bowl shape because we do see that a lot, but I just didn't know, it's a little bit boring. And it would really be something I would have to really contemplate if I was doing this on a big painting. I've restructured it a little bit for the sake of, again, an interesting composition. Now, if I'm doing this right here on my own, in my own time, I might be just a tad bit more intricate with some of this blocking into the large shape. But I feel like I'm working against the clock because I know all of you are thinking, come on lady, hurry up and get this done. I got a tuna sandwich waiting on me. So, or maybe a BLT, that sounds better. I must be getting hungry. All right, and I want questions, you guys. And if I don't get them answered today during the live, I'll answer them later. I come back and monitor. Now, there is this big area, which obviously is not non-existent as a large shape because I have deleted this cloud right here. So, and I've just kind of brought this here. One thing I also do, and I'm just giving you little tips to think about when you're painting as well. When you exit on your clouds, as you exit your scene, I try to always exit with an upward motion. I don't want to exit with a cloud going at an angle, going off like this. Try to exit with fluffiness, things that keep you within the scene, or completely horizontal straight like this is okay. But just watch those designs. I'm going to go ahead and pick back up a little bit more of the, so now that my sky was 60%. I'm going to pick back up into the 40, and I got a little sidetracked, and I think I could beautify this right here. Now I'm going to use the white of the paper to represent the light of the cloud. And how much do I want to do here is really, like I said, a personal choice. I want this a little bit darker, and I'm half hesitant to pick up my 60, because my 60 is going to take me as dark as the blue sky, right? I don't want this as dark as the blue sky. It isn't. It's close. This, believe it or not, or I should say this, in value, is close to that dark blue sky. If you were looking at a black and white of it, or through a value finder, you would see that. But so I have to be hesitant. Now, could I, if I had maybe a 50%, I would be able to use it, but I don't. I just go 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, so I think, it's looking fairly decent. And I'm okay with this right here. I don't think it's pulling the eye. Maybe I would tone it a little bit. There, that little cloud up in the left-hand corner. This is what makes these decisions. Now, maybe you can see the discipline of doing this ahead of time is now giving me a pathway into going into a larger painting. What would work and what doesn't work. And so this is the reason, and it's a discipline. Okay, little clouds off in the distance here. Just suggest them. How much do we want? So, I can try and do a little bit of a squall, but it's kind of tough with these pins. Is everybody hanging in there with me, or have you all left? I'm looking at my phone. Hi, Laura Lee, Dallas, Texas. Well, we got a good number of people on. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sunny. I can see the little pictures of everybody up in the corner. I'm going to attempt to put a rain squall on this. I kind of want to be a little careful because I don't want to mess this up, because I'd like to give it away at the end of July. So the way you win this at the end of July is you show up for my last summer sketch giveaway drawing. I will draw the name for the prize winner, and I will, who's ever present. So to win this, you have to be present at the next live. And who's ever present, Lindsay just scrolls through and grabs one name, and I'm thinking here and trying to talk at the same time. One name, randomly. All right, as light as I can go, it's 20%. There is a value of this here that is not as light as this. Okay, so I gotta ponder this, and this is how you should be thinking with your work. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to go 20% and just get rid of the white here to start. There's a little bit of pencil lines down in there, but that's all right. Avoid those little whites of those clouds there if I want them to stay white. And I'm not sure, hopefully that this is showing up. I'm looking in my phone there. It's vaguely showing up, but I'm killing the beigey white of this here. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to be bold, a little brave, and jump up to the 40%. And I'm going to see if I can just barely suggest like maybe some rain here. And what would happen if I just barely, and I'm not hardly hitting, I'm trying to miss and hit here so that it would be like, oh, there's a storm, there's a rainstorm approaching, and it's got a little bit of a squall happening. Because there is an area right here of the squall where it is darker, then it's really lightening up. And there is the most beautiful cerulean blues up here through this light side. It's just gorgeous. So, yeah, okay, I think I'm good. I think I could live with that. That's not too bad. I'm going to grab just a little bit more, see if I can hit the 40%. Doing these little cloud scenes makes me want to grab another value scale like a 50, but I've kind of made myself just work within this range. I want to darken just this right through here. One more time. I don't want to carry it all the way up. The shadow up here has some iridescent, beautiful lights happening. If you have to leave, Lindsay, drop the link for the summer sketch giveaway where they can sign up to win the prizes. In case somebody has to jump out of this, they at least know where they can go sign up, watch another video, get a PDF of these supplies. So if you have questions of what marker was that, there's a PDF attached there. And drop that link a couple times in the comment box so they can find it, if you will, Lindsay. Thank you. So actually, you know, that's not looking too bad. I think I could kind of live with that. Not too bad. I'm thinking, why not just a little bit of interest here where maybe there's, see these small little clouds that float out. I'll tell you, they're way easier to do in oil paint than they are in these markers. But again, I'm disciplining you. I am getting you guys all back to the drawing board. I am right beside you when I am excited and I want to get to my paints. I want that color. But discipline in this is going to change the ball game for you. Now, I still have all of this light stuff down here, and it is, when you look at it through a value finder, or if you were looking at a black and white, it's pretty bright. But do I want all of it as bright as this? What is your scene about? Don't fall in love with everything. I mean, I get that. You love the ground, you love the trees, you love the clouds, but we do have to focus in and say, what am I trying to tell my viewer? Where is the real storyline? Is it about the cliffs, or is this about this thunderstorm coming over, about ready to dump a load of water on the Grand Canyon? All those village people down there, everybody in the village is going to have to take cover because it's going to blast them. I mean, what is your story about? Think about that. Don't just think, oh, it's so pretty. It's a pretty tree. It's a pretty mountain. Put a story behind it and make an emotional content to your scene, you intimately with your scene. Do that, and you'll find that your scene will be coming more to life. But do I want all those lights? And I don't think I do. So I'm going to grab some of the 40% to start. There are horizontal strata lines that run through here. And I could suggest some of it. And then do leave maybe a few little bright lights just right on the edge. If I was painting this, I would leave some bright lights along the edge. I would leave some, I call them the frosting, the clicking of the edges with like a palette knife along these little areas where it's really intensely bright. This to me is a gorgeous design. Secondary focal point to me. I'm not about the building so much because they're all the same color, the land. They're not really showing up. There's no sparkling windows or bright lights hitting them, but it's here. So we have focal point, and then to me, secondary. I would play this area up and do some beautiful like frosting and clicking of these edges with a palette knife. So I would probably remind myself of that by leaving some of those areas through there. And just kind of continue to suggest the lay of the strata that runs through here. And I think probably I've left too much light there, because here's the thing, I want to balance what is happening. And so I'm just going to grab a little bit back into my 80%, and I think I'll just maybe redesign just a little bit here and knock back some of that. And I want to continue, like I'm going to run this dark here actually all along this bottom. So what I have is, so listen to me, pay attention class. I have this long elongated shape here of a long stretching dark, then a break, and then this one, and then a break. This break is not the same size as this break, right? This length is not the same size as this length. And so you're creating variety. We're going to create the variety of shapes and things going on here. And coming off the page over here, I really think I would go and maybe grab the 60% and possibly go just a little bit darker with some details and quiet down the exit. I always think about my exit. What is my exit? Exit, exit, exit. The four corners. And your exits can be at a horizon line, and an exit can be at a cloud. So I always think about those, and I'm going to tone down that exit. I don't want you going off there. And then I'm going to just come in and maybe tweak a few little things in this area that I felt is my most important area, telling me I'm going to detail that out ever so slightly. So one last thing and we're done. Hold tight. One last thing we are going to do is we're going to go adjust. I'm going to grab black, and I'm going to take this this shadow area here. I'm going to take my shadows just a tad bit darker. I'm just going to go back over where I was. Could I have done this the first time out the door? I could have, but you all on there are making me a nervous wreck. So I'm approaching it with some conservative thoughts here of like, oh, what if this doesn't work? So yeah, going a little bit darker here. And definitely, I had talked about there's things that are happening down here. I wouldn't go into a lot of detail in my final painting. If I did have some detail of some trees and things, they would be in a very close value range that would not pull you there. You would not be pulled that direction. But there are some darks right along the edge here that I would play up that do maybe it does suggest some buildings and things, but there is right along here, whether it shows on your screen or not, there are some beautiful darks that are really catching, but then as we get out over here, it disappears. So I'm not going to carry it off that direction. So finishing that off with that darkest, little bit darker dark. I would call that a wrap. I think that that's pretty good. You know, I have a little bit of a point here. There are some of these wind wispy things that happen, and I'm not too bothered by that. I think I'll leave it because to me, it says a little bit about the clouds, disposition up there. Like he's starting to kick it up. There's a little bit of some velocity, something starting to happen, and it's boiling up and the wind is taking pieces of it. So I actually think I'll leave it. Sometimes I get rid of those, but I think I'll leave it. And I am going to shoot a little bit of black. I want to carry it just a little bit darker right down here. All right, so that's a wrap. Let's see, what brand of markers do you use, Bobby? They are Prismacolor. And it is, so when you go to Prismacolor, you know, you can get every color in the world. These are the Prismacolor Premier, and the tip on them is called the brush tip. You see that see that squiggly line? Then on this end is this tip. And on this end, that's your, sorry, losing track. That's your brush tip. So I actually used every single one of them. I used the 20, 40, 60, and 80% plus the black the whole time. The only thing that you're getting in the package that I didn't use here is this fine tip micron, the fine tip micron pen, but I do use them occasionally. This shows you one right here. Pull this off of here where you can see in this small little intimate scene, which I think this is the video that you get when you sign up doing this, of this cliff at the canyon. If you look, see all those fine little marks, all that, and the little tree trunks and branches down here. I like to do that stuff. All right. I like to put a little bit of detail. That's what I use these for. But I can't thank you all for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I love giving. So much has been given to me through the years from a lot of generous people. So I'm going to sign off here. You guys all have a sandwich waiting. I have a sandwich waiting, and we are going to all get back to the drawing board and be disciplined. 10-4. Thanks, guys.